Hello and welcome to the Filmmakers Lounge. My name is Lauren Akers, and we have the distinct pleasure of being joined by HB, Harold Branch III, here with HomeBase, the Poetry Lounge, and we're in a beautiful Wyndham Ballroom. I understand from HB that they have treated you well here. You've got received with open arms, and now I have to admit, I didn't even know there was an audience for poetry. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Oh wow, been doing poetry for about 17 years now. For a long time, started doing poetry here back when I was 16. So it's always been an audience for it. It's always been a crowd for it.
Okay.
People want an alternative to the club scene. They want an alternative to the traditional forms of entertainment and things like that. But they want an adult atmosphere. They want to go somewhere where they could be grown. They can have a drink. They could, flirt a little bit and talk a little crazy.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's still a safe environment,
Right.
with all the adult elements, but it's still safe. Nothing's ridiculous or what have you. So putting a poetry set together and a poetry scene together just, absolutely made sense. We came together. We just thought it was going to be about 50, 60 people or so that wanted to hear some poetry. And it turned out we was blowing the walls down at the venue we were in. We found out it was just a beautiful situation and setup, and people really started being attracted to it. Then we started averaging about 250 folks, 300 folks every 2 weeks. And next thing you know, we was the biggest cultural event in Arizona, and one of the biggest open mics in the country, and one of the most renowned ones in the world, I just found out. We're in the top 20 of all open mics globally. So we're doing pretty good. And to be doing that in Phoenix, considering the political environment and things like that, that says a lot. So we're pretty excited. With myself, you got Big Tone, playing the music, and between the poetry and just the old school music, people wouldn't just come out just to hear poetry, but it's the energy and it's the environment. People want to be somewhere safe and somewhere grown, like I said. So when you hit the front door, you got the ladies. We call them the angels. Raquel, Lisa, Michaela, sometimes Leslie, sometimes Dondra. They work the front desk, and they make people feel extremely welcome, extremely at home on the way in. We got vending tables out there, so you got different businesses. So we're supporting the small business arena and entrepreneurship as well. So then they can market to our crowd and our audience. And then you got Big Tone in here playing just old school jams and just good music. Music that make you feel good and music that you probably never heard but should hear. He's a master at that. So with all those elements combined and me hosting and just being
In home, that's what makes home base different from everybody
absolutely
else.
absolutely everything is in house. You know what I mean? Everything is in house. We're all family. Our kids all play together. You know what I mean? So it's a home feel. So it's like going to grandmama's house. It's coming home. When you go away to college, or you get married or you move away and move to another city and things get bad, you can always come home.
Right.
You can always come home and feel safe. You can always come home and know that you're okay. And that's what home base is for a lot of people.
Now, we met originally, HB, while doing a film, Second Chance. Now, what other ventures have you been involved in?
I've been doing film for a while now. It happened accidentally. I was a poet before I was an actor. I tell people I've been acting a fool for a long time, so acting on stage, not a big deal, not a big shift. But what happened, I was doing poetry here, and I wrote a poem called Scratches on My Back, and then a director and film writer by the name of Iris Huey here locally, she took the poem and turned it into a short. And I auditioned. I actually got the lead role in that. So Scratches is, pretty much one of the first films I was really, really a part of. But people kept asking me to write poems for their films. The Moment with Anthony Deshay, and it was just several of them. And I would audition, and they would say, "Wow, you can act too." And so that allowed me to get involved, and got a chance to work with Iris one more chance, with Second Chance. Was really excited about that. They actually just did a project with a gentleman named Apollo. It was a student project that he won all kind of awards for. It's called The Lost Poem, and it's on YouTube. You could just look up The Lost Poem, and it did really, really well. Also, and we actually shot a lot of the footage here at home base. So really diving into the, love the acting scene. Wish I had more time to do more of it, but you blow up in one thing, you'll blow up in all things. So they'll come knocking once this is all over the air. So.
Okay, when we hear poetry, we talk about spoken word. We hear slam poetry. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about, for our audience who don't know, what the difference is, if there is indeed a difference?
It's all poetry.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You have poetry, and then within poetry, you have subcategories. Lyrics, so the songwriters and the rappers and things like that. That's still poetry. It falls under more of a lyrics type situation. You have spoken word. You have written word. The written word is just poetry that's it's made to be read. Probably the way it's laid out on the page is artistic in and of itself, things like that. But when you hear it, it doesn't have quite the same appeal. It's not as engaging. Then you have the spoken word, and with the spoken word, it's meant to be shared. You know, a lot of spoken word artists don't even write their poems down. They only write it down so they can get it copyrighted. But you will very rarely see it written often. And, you know, they're the spoken word artists and they're performers, and it's something that's written to be almost a monologue. You know what I mean, performed. Slam poetry is a subset of spoken word poetry. And slam poetry is a competitive spoken word, where everything falls within 3 minutes. You go over 3 minutes, you get penalized. You actually get ranked according to, you know, it's like the Olympics. So if you ever go to a slam poetry competition, they pass out scorecards and you get to rank people 7.8, you know, 8.9 and things like that. So you have a more intense poetry because they're trying to get those scores. You know, they're not, and it's serious. It's serious. So you got the different variations. Some people are really into slam because the competition feels it brings the best out of them. But some people don't want their poetry to be judged. It's too personal. So they just want to read it and they just want to share. And some people still read it right off the paper, but they just want to share. You know what I mean? So it's different variations, but they're all welcome and they all blend in together. It's all one.
Now, sir, now you're a noted author. Finding My Way, I believe, is the name.
Yeah, Finding My Way, a poetic exploration and journaling experience, is a book of my most intense poems. And I have a counseling background. I'm also a youth specialist, traveled around the world working with young people. And some of the most intense situations, from Columbine to LA to Chicago gangs to, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be, to the prisons and things like that, along with adults as well. So I took a lot of my most intense poems, and they put processing questions behind them. So it may be a poem like I Lost My Father to a Male Ego, and then there's questions right after that to kind of help you work through the parts you need to work through. So the poem brings up the emotion, and the questions help you process it in your own life, so you could start to the process and the journey of getting past it. You know, these poems help me find my way, and maybe in reading them and working through this poetic workbook, it can help you find your way as well.
So it's not just a passive reading. It's something that's engaging.
I tell people, read it with a pen.
No doubt.
Read it with a pen, because you're going to be taking notes. You're going to be jotting down some serious stuff.
You're a wonderful actor, wonderful poet. You're doing a lot of different things now. You're venturing in. You, like we talked about earlier, you have inclusions into the youth. You're a counselor. What other sort of ventures have you been working with the youth besides?
We're going to be actually the HomeBase Foundation will be up here in just a quick second with Sister Heather Jenkins and Rashandra Carnes are taking real leads into that. We're really excited to work with those sisters, and we're really going to focus on our young people, our young artists, our young poets. You know, when I was young, I didn't really have a governing poetry body to kind of escort me through that journey and that process and really support my writing journey. So we want to have workshops on their writing, but also life workshops as well, and then stay in tune with their education and just their grades and making sure that they're staying focused and on point and getting the most out of, you know, that scholastic and academic experience. So yeah, we're really excited about that. That'll be up here real soon, the HomeBase Foundation, and we're going to be doing some pretty good things with that, traveling and taking them to national competitions and performing nationally. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Now you have some new feature things that they're upcoming here. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, we're real excited. You know, HomeBase, we just had our second 2-year anniversary, and we're approaching that 3rd year. We're about 2.5 years right now, and we've been doing really well. We're the longest running set of its kind here locally. We're the only one in the country that's at a major hotel chain. So we've already accomplished some pretty major things. We had a film crew come out not too long ago, and they shot a promo video that's on YouTube, and you can get it at our website, homebasepoetry.com. And this hasn't been 2 months, and in those 2 months, we've had over 10,500 views already. You know, people are really tuning in even virally to see what we have going on, even though they're not physically here. So we're really excited about that. Coming up here soon, you know, every now and again, what was a natural progression, we started to bring in neo soul artists or what have you, and soul artists and just performers to perform for our crowd, because there's not a lot of places here where we could get those R&B soul artists and things like that, like where I'm from, Chicago and a lot of other major cities, where you have a lot of those options for live music. So we'll bring them out every now and again, and we call them HomeBase holidays. So it's where it's a holiday on Monday, people don't have to go to work, so we don't mind throwing a party that Sunday. So that's what we end up doing. We throw a party and bring in a performer. Well, what's going on? We actually just partnered with 98.3 Radio, who was just purchased by Magic Johnson. So Magic Johnson is now the owner of 98.3, and we just partnered with them to bring out some artists. And coming up here in May for Memorial Day weekend, that Sunday, May 29th, we have Abyss coming out from Atlanta, Def Poetry Jam, amazing cat, been on HBO, performed with every major artist you can think of, and then a phenomenal soul singer out of California named Ife, I-F-E, and she's going to be, they're both going to be coming out. So we're going to do the open mic like we normally do for the first 2 hours, but then in that last hour or so, we're going to have our concert portion kick in, and then right after that, we're going to have M2, who is the DJ for Groove Candy out in Scottsdale. He's going to be the DJ. We're going to DJ the party. The hotel give us a great room rates all night, like $85, you know, for anybody that gets it under our block. So we're going to turn this to a sleepover, and we're going to hang out. We're going to be grown, and we're going to have a phenomenal time. And we're going to do that about 3 more times after that. Labor Day weekend, Independence weekend, Columbus weekend. We're going to do the same thing. So we're really excited about, you know, making all that a reality.
We really appreciate your time, HB, dedicated here with the Filmmakers Lounge. Once again, make sure you come out to the Wyndham Hotel. They've embraced HB, Brother HB, here with the HomeBase, the Poets Poetry Set. You see all that's going on. Make sure you stay tuned. He has a Facebook, and he's on Twitter. He's pretty much on everything going on. HomeBase Poetry. There you go.
Get you everything you need.
Sweet. Very nice. My name is Lauren Akers, and this has been the Filmmakers Lounge.